There's not enough outlets for people to learn how to not gamble, be happy, and live a good, happy, joyous, and free life. You are
End
one
it
of them,
there.
sir. We're ending it there. I
Whoa,
love
it's my
you.
podcast. Let me end it. Hold on.
I love you. Thank you so much for watching Modern Meeting with Adam Lyons.
So here's the thing. How many times do you think I start an episode with, so here's the thing? The answer is 72 out of 99. I'm kidding. But it's probably a lot. Someone asked me the other day, they said, can you believe you've done 100 episodes? And I said, actually, yes, I can. And I don't mean that in a cocky way. The minute I started doing this, it gave me one of those gut feelings. Similar to the feeling I had coaching baseball, doing improv, hosting trivia, a few other things. But those all were happening while I gambled. Doing the podcast, this was a different feeling. It was the ultimate gut feeling. And I'm not going to sit here and say that, I'm going to be doing the Modern Meeting for the rest of my life. But I'm probably going to be doing the Modern Meeting for the rest of my life in some form. Over the last 99 episodes, I've gotten the privilege of interviewing so many amazing people from all areas of this space. Those with lived experience, those affected by someone struggling with addiction, and of course, those working in the space. Today's episode, we're going to go back and honor them. One thing to note, if you're listening right now and not watching YouTube, it could be hard to tell when one clip starts and stops and another one begins. So when you hear this sound, that means we're on to the next episode. And I'm going to check in every 10 or 15 or so just to say hi. But for now, I just want to thank every single person who has listened to any of the last 99 episodes of the Modern Meeting. I truly appreciate it. I hope you got something out of it. And I'm looking forward to many, many more episodes. It's very fitting that this is all happening as I was spending the last 2 weeks in Middle America, talking to people about spreading gambling awareness and seeing that, it's tough out there. And even though I feel like we're making strides and the Modern Meeting audience is growing and growing, and Evive is growing and the community within Evive is thriving, which is awesome. Shout out to Evive. But there are so many more people out there that need help. So many people out there that are afraid to admit they have a problem. And that's why we do this. And that's why I'm going to keep doing the podcast. So let's take a look back and celebrate those who have helped me along the way these last 99 episodes. Welcome to the Modern Meeting.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Modern Meeting. This is episode 1, minute 1. After that, really uplifting, positive story you just heard. My name's Adam. I'm a compulsive gambler, if you can't tell. My last bet was February 8th, 2022. And who's that over there? What's your name?
Hey, buddy. I'm Alex, also a compulsive gambler. Last bet, April 21st, 2024.
Yeah. Good stuff.
We're gonna cover a lot of ground today. We're gonna cover why we're here, what we're doing, who we are, right? I'm sure the people have a lot of questions, and we're gonna try and answer them.
There's one immutable thing in life, and there's two: change and time. So change is going to happen, and I had to learn to swim with the current rather than against it, because that's what I had been doing. I wanted it my way, so I'm going to swim upstream. But it gets exhausting fighting the current your whole life. So, somebody said, hey, Paul, if every day you wake up and you go gamble and it has the same impact on your life as getting into the ring with Mike Tyson in his prime, and gambling beats you bloody and breaks you, and you crawl out of the ring at the end of the day beaten and bloody, and you crawl home and get in bed, and the next morning you wake up and you go, I can win today. And you get back in the ring and you get beat up again. Here's an idea. How about today you don't get in the ring? So the win is in the surrender. So how do I surrender? Because that's not in my nature. I had to do a whole bunch of things that I didn't want to do, that I didn't think would work, that are not in my nature. But my nature had gotten me to be a compulsive gambler, a drug addict, and an alcoholic. And I lost everything that was important to me. So something had to change.
Oh, I meant to ask too. What were the signs that your parents caught on to that they eventually sent you away?
So my parents and I don't really talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because my mom would, like my grandmother, when my mother told my grandmother for the first time that I was a heroin addict.
Yeah.
I think she didn't even tell her I was a heroin addict. She told her I was addicted to pills.
Mm-hmm.
Because heroin just sounded so dirty.
So hardcore.
So dirty. I don't even know to this day if my grandmother knows I ever did heroin.
Grandma, don't listen to this.
Exactly. Don't listen to this podcast. But, so we never really talked about it. And I was in such a daze those last few months after the detox before I went to rehab. I don't really remember a whole lot of getting sent away.
But a month from now, I want to be here. 2 months from now, I want to be here. It's like, whoa, day at a time.
Yeah.
How do you kind of articulate that to people that don't understand?
Yeah, it's a good question because I didn't understand, but I was just like, oh, a day at a time, ha ha ha. But what does that mean? Even a minute at a time. I think for me, because I'm such a planner, I have my son every other day and every other weekend. So it's one day I don't, and then the next day. And so just realizing I don't plan the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what action am I going to do today or right now that is going to go towards my recovery or towards, and some days I didn't do anything. I mean, I couldn't figure out what a day at a time meant, know?
Right.
But just really, I think too, it's really trying to changing that tape, I call it, in my head, the narrative of just, it's so much, mountains of apparently unsolvable problems. It's oh my God, there's no way out. But okay, what do I need to do? I need to get my shoes on. I need to go to the grocery store. So I got to get my shoes on. I just kind of break it down.
For sure.
And try to focus, on that.
Give us a front row seat to a classic, brutal Jen night at the casino.
All right, strap in.
Yeah, let's go.
Buckle up.
So I would, even when I knew there was a problem, whatever I had, I was going in full force. For me, it was if I started with a large amount in the casino fight. So I get my paycheck. My paycheck's $900, say. I was going to go in with $850, right? Because $50 gives me enough money to have a full tank of gas and to eat some sort of crappy, cheap food for the rest of the week. And my strategy always was come out swinging. Go in, and I played slots. So I had my machines that I thought these were the machines that always hit. But really, sort of where I found my home in the casino, Keno slots.
Come on, Jen. You're making this up.
No. And it was
That's wild.
Specifically the Cleopatra Keno slot.
Oh, I hated that one, but okay.
Okay, see,
Our first fight.
All right. I think we'll get through it. But also, you have some people that you meet that are going to just sit there and call you on your bullshit, but not in such a way that it makes you feel like shit. My second month in there, my share was, we have a very small group. So there's only sometimes 4 or 5 of us. So everyone feels the need to always share. So my share was a couple months in, it's a good day to be alive. don't feel like gambling, don't think I'm going to ever gamble ever again. And someone just sort of commented back and goes, you're on a high because you're 2 months in, but that's the honeymoon phase. Like, be aware you are in the honeymoon phase of recovery, and when that wears off, just saying it's a good day, I'm never going to do it again is not enough. And that hit me like a ton of bricks.
So the thing is that one thing I do know is that if you don't want help, you're not going to stay clean or stay away from a bet. If you don't want help, if you want and you got a half a chance to survive, get involved. You got to go to meetings and you got to reach your hand out and say, I'm a newcomer. We are lucky at our meeting that they do that, and we have the opportunity too, where the secretary says, we're going to give you an opportunity to speak if you want. Right? And those people have been coming to the meeting most of them after they spoke and said something. The biggest gift I've had is that I have a person that's in my life. He's been in my life for a long time in the other program. And he called me one day and said, I need help. And him and I used to talk about gambling. And I used to all say, I'm 10 times worse than him because he doesn't have any money. So he's buying $5 scratch tickets. I'm buying 50, right?
Right.
And he called me one day and he says, it's time. Talk about a gift. So now...
Can we say that beautiful bastard's name or no?
Yeah, Norman.
Say it loud and
clear. Norman's been in my life for years.
I fucking love that guy.
Anything that goes on a plate at Thanksgiving in your house, don't talk about if you're making your perfect plate.
Anything non-turkey.
Anything non-turkey
is draftable.
You're making your perfect plate. Go. The number one overall pick.
I think this should be normalized as a year-round side. People love it or hate it. I love it. Stuffing.
It's a good pick.
Why is stuffing? And this is not like
it's a good pick.
It's not a super unique take, but why is stuffing not, when you go to a restaurant or a steak, why is there not a cast iron skillet side dish of stuffing at a steakhouse? Why is that not an option? It would be unbelievable.
Why is my mouth watering?
So I'm gonna make a Southern style cornbread dressing.
Ooh,
but stuffing, sausage, cornbread, stuffing. Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. So your go-to stuffing is cornbread stuffing.
No,
I'm a sausage stuffing guy.
There's sausage in it.
What?
Oh yeah, dude.
For me, it was just more. It's a disease of more, like most of the addictions are. It's more. And I talk all the time about Patty Spaz. So Patty Spaz is my alter ego. Patty is the one that...
Damn, another possible...
Right?
Patty Spaz.
Title. Patty Spaz.
Patty Spaz,
and
the slut, man.
Patty is...
Look out for her.
Patty has been one of my best friends. I mean, she's been there for all the good times. But Patty can lead me down the wrong path. But I willingly follow Patty or did for a time. And I miss her. I'm not going to lie. But for me, it was more, whether it was more weed or more cocaine or, more gambling or, alcohol. I just never liked it.
Right.
I didn't like the way it made me feel. It took too long. It was like, ugh.
Yeah.
But gambling was... Boom! You're right in the storm. You're right. You're right in the shitstorm from day one. So,
So it wasn't just sports betting. You would be doing like the online casino stuff.
Oh, I'd bet on like snooker at 3 a.m. I was a degenerate.
What's snooker?
Exactly. I tried to watch it. I'd be sitting there going, "What the fuck did I just bet on?" And I'd be watching it, and I'd be like, "Let's go!"
Snooker's like, isn't that like, it's kind of like a shuffleboard style game?
It kind of looks like pool. I mean, this is how sick I was. I was betting on shit that I had no fucking clue.
Yeah.
What was going on?
What was your average unit like at that time when you're betting on snooker? Like, are you betting $50 on it, or are you betting like more?
Snooker or like anything Korean baseball, right?
Oh,
That's the snooker and Korean
that's
baseball.
Different. That's like a real.
That's
sport,
the 3 a.m. special.
Yeah. No, but I'm talking about the 3 a.m. specials.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Those are the desperate home run balls where you want to wake back up at 6:37 and go, all right, I got a few $100.
Everything's fine. Yeah.
Everything's fine. At least I'm swimming right now,
I was never present at home, as we've discussed.
Right.
because I was in active addiction. And then when I got into recovery, I was never home because I was fixing myself on recovery and helping other people and not helping what was happening at home.
Right.
One reason why I did have a divorce, and there's other reasons, but I had to find that balance of recovery life and home life. And today I have that balance.
How'd you find it? What was the key to that?
A lot of people in my ear.
Yeah.
In the program and outside the program.
Sure.
You're saying, Charles, you're doing too much. And I'm like, this is what I have to do. And then I have an addictive personality. So
right.
they say 90 meetings in 90 days. And I was easily doubling that.
I'll do 91. Yeah. Right.
150.
And she finds my little satchel with, tinfoil with track marks on it and, cut fucking straws and lighters, and they know what's up. And they don't say anything because they're terrified of what I'm going to do, but they're trying to figure out what to do. Right. So they're like looking up resources. They're asking what's wrong and, all this stuff. And then finally one day I just break down and tell them, like, I have a problem. I've been using opiates for the past X amount of years. This is how it happened. What was me? Feel bad for me. I'm crying. Like, this is such a problem. Like, I can't stop. Because I wanted to stop. I really did. I thought I could do it on my own. I didn't necessarily know how, but in that moment, it was like, let's just get honest about it, right? And they can help me change the behavior.
She didn't say anything to me ever until the last bet I ever made, which was on a game the Bruins lost a shootout, where I was chasing and chasing and chasing, and it was like my last hurrah to empty the savings, and I lost, and sitting in the room right behind me, I can visualize it. And I walked into our bedroom and I just told her what happened. We had never talked about, never in her wildest dreams had she thought that was
so there were no warning signs, nothing
other than she knew. She thought on occasion I would bet $10 here or there.
Right.
That's what she thought had been going on for the last 2 years.
Holy shit.
That last bet, was it a big bet?
Yeah, I probably lost 75 grand in one bet.
Yeah.
I cleared out everything I had in about 72 hours.
Wow.
I went to a beginners meeting at it's called Friday Night Beginners Meeting in Dartmouth at St. Mary's Church. And for whatever reason, I became willing. I can't tell you it was for all the right reasons that I walked down into that basement that day. I think my intention walking in there was I'm just doing this to dust myself off and get my girlfriend back and make sure she feels all right about me. But I just was willing. Something that I, never was for the past 15 years was kind of to be willing to do something outside of my comfort zone that wasn't based on myself, right? So I did, and I walked down into the meeting fearful as all hell, scared, and what I saw was not what I thought AA was supposed to be, right? I had only known AA as from TV, movies, right? And basically people, crying about their alcoholism or their addiction with bad coffee, right? And it was not that at all. I saw sober people happy. And that was the first time I had ever seen that or experienced that, because I always associated being sober with being miserable and not having fun. And so I kind of was like, ooh, I kind of want what these people have.
Yeah.
A little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cold open voice deactivate. So when I tell you it was a trip to go back to the beginning of these early episodes, it's kind of a different podcast if you think about it. Definitely longer, definitely funnier, in my opinion, because of Alex. Alex and I, we addressed a little bit what ended up happening to us. And obviously, what's done is done. And I believe everything happens for a reason. I think he does too. But it doesn't mean that listening to these last to the first 14 episodes didn't make me feel a little sad, a little, just kind of what if, but I want to thank Alex for helping me get the podcast off the ground. I appreciate you sharing your story. I appreciate you sharing your insight, appreciate the laughs, and want to congratulate you, obviously day at a time, but in about a month, exactly a month actually from when this airs, Alex will be celebrating 2 years away from a bet. So congrats to you, Alex. And next up, so we enter the I'm going to try to fill the co-host seat era of the Modern Meeting. Jen, Eddie, Steven, Charles, Ken, they all sat in at some point. Thank you all for doing it. I definitely, it's been a weird experience, like listening to all these episodes. I mean, I didn't listen to all of them from front to back, but just going back and trying to find the clips. And yeah, I definitely miss having someone to talk to on Fridays. So maybe we'll get that going on the Friday episodes. Just kind of talk recovery and shoot the shit. I don't think you guys want to hear about pickleball and Facebook dating every week, but maybe you do. I don't know. I love pickleball. I'm playing tomorrow morning, weather permitting. Anyways, back to the show.
And right there, I was just like, I can't lie myself out of this. Like, she's holding the receipt. So the shit hit the fan that day. And she was hysterical, and so it was a Friday. It was
hold on. Let's back to you now. So
it was a Thursday.
So he confesses. Tell me, like, from your perspective, what it was like.
So we had just gotten married in July, and it's now February.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still we're still kind of like trying to figure out married life, if you will, but we've been together forever, so it's whatever. So I'm upset that it's a cash advance. I'm upset that we already have a ton of money on the cards. I'm upset that he stood up in front of our family and friends and lied to me. And I'm upset that that it took the marriage before this came out. Because had it happened when we were not married, my ass was out. Like, so out.
Yeah.
And I don't take marriage lightly. It's not like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm just going to go.
I am definitely a binge drinker. I pretty much do most things in my life in binge, which is part of the problem. Gambling, drinking, all of the things. If I'm not doing it, or if I'm, if I have work and then I have an early shift the next day or whatever, I could always be responsible enough to try to I'm not going to drink tonight because I don't want to be miserable tomorrow for work. So I'm going to wait till the weekend. And then the weekend comes and then bam, I'm drinking literally everything I can get my hands on. Doesn't matter what it is. I don't care. I'm drinking it all and I'm getting fucked up. That's the end goal. That is it. Doing a couple shots to warm up, and then we're drinking beers, whatever it may be. But then as it progressed, it became, okay, now I want to drink the night before work. It's okay. I'll be fine tomorrow. I got an easy shift, whatever excuse I made up to drink that night. And it just got worse and worse. I know countless poker players that are phenomenal at the game. Very good. Well studied, have run up huge bankrolls and have lost it all gambling in the pits. Or can't stay out of the pits, and every time they have a winning poker session, then they end up in the pit games and they lose everything that they made playing poker and then everything in their pocket. That guy was me for a long time. And that's to your point when you said about, when we went to the casino together, and it always seemed like I was controlled and I didn't lose too much and I stuck to limits and stuff like that. I think that as I got older and having a family, I could always get to that point where I would stop it before it did too much damage.
These regular Joes like a Chris Moneymaker and others winning these millions of dollars, standing on cash piles with their World Series of Poker bracelets, and I just was hooked. So what that turned into was my friends. Sometimes it was nightly. Every night we're playing poker at somebody's house, and I really got into poker And on the last episode, you know, I forget his name. Was it Nick?
Yes.
Nick. You know, poker consumed all of my gambling energy for a solid year and a half. I became pretty good at it. I studied all of the odds, and I basically became obsessed with poker and online poker. And for a while, I was pretty decent. And then when that gentleman, Nick, said, you know, you become the compulsive gambler when you're no longer disciplined. And I remember coming up those Foxwood stairs from that basement poker room, and I saw the craps table, and that's where the undisciplined gambling really kicked off.
Like, why was I chosen to be given this? And it's not like so much just they give it to you and you have it. You put in work, right? But that this found me some way, and I'm just grateful for that, honestly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I tell people all the time I'm actually grateful for my addiction because it got me here. And I have never in my life expected that I would be able to wake up and just be. And I know I said this on my episode too, but my favorite thing about sort of where I am now is that life is so easy and it's just enjoyable. And even at the times when I'm stressed out or I have something like bad happen that throws a wrench into my day, I'm still genuinely pretty happy.
Yep.
And so some people sort of look at me like I have 10 heads when I say I'm grateful for the addiction. But in recovery, I have worked on so many things beyond just the gambling.
When I ask you, like, is there anything that you regret? What are the things that popped into your head just now?
The 20 grand.
20 grand.
That's the biggest thing. Because I thought we were doing such a big favor. Because I didn't get shit from my father.
Right.
And if we can start each kid off with 20 grand towards a wedding or a house or whatever, condo, that would be something that we never had. Mom didn't have it either. So, yeah, for you to chip away at that and get me to freaking give you all of it over time was disgusting.
Go ahead.
I remember when I used to argue with your uncle about that, Uncle Rick, and he'd say, oh, just give it to him. It's his money. It's his money.
Right.
But my brother was a real gambler too. So
yeah, we know.
He just didn't understand the value of the money either.
And then I worked as a bartender because that makes sense for alcoholics to get a job at the bar.
Just like me working as a poker dealer. Yeah,
right. Absolutely. Sure. It's perfect. And so all of the outside jackpots were happening, right? My car was a tin can, literally. When I got sober, or right before I got sober, I could only get into my car by going through the passenger side. It was a disaster because I would hit everything. I got fired from that job as a bartender. That's a whole different story. If you want to hear it, I will definitely tell you. So wasn't paying insurance. Debt collectors, wake up wondering if the police are outside my front door because maybe I hit somebody. I just didn't know. So all of those scorecards read 0. But more importantly, I hated myself.
Okay.
Like if I didn't wake up in the morning, I would be happy. I absolutely loathed myself, and I knew that alcohol was doing it, but I also couldn't face it, so I drank more.
So they say statistically 75% of the people in your wedding party you don't talk to after a few years. So it really helps you funnel out who your friends are and aren't. So it's just...
But yeah, and it's not even funneling. It's like your life is in... There's moments, right? Like you might have like a great friend in college that you never see. You might have a great friend from childhood. It's rare that you have a friend that makes it through all different life events.
Yeah, like a friend that's a constant.
Right?
Aside from that, it just kind of ebbs and flows.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'll be honest. If I were to take away my friends who I met in any kind of recovery sort of instance, I don't think I have any friends, which I'm perfectly fine with. I think I have, a good support group. I have people that in my family that certainly my sisters are my friends, you know, my in-laws are my friends, but on a just strictly friend to friend level, all of my friends right now, all the people that I would call a friend in my inner circle, they're all people I've met through recovery.
I mean, recovery comes first, right? If we're gonna be
the way
if we wanna be as successful as possible.
Like I'm like, I have to be good myself, so that way I can be good for other people,
right,
and for life.
Yeah, I love that.
And the whole program's supposed to be not being selfish, but like it is in a way. Whereas like I have to make sure I take care of myself first, so that way I'm able to be useful to other people.
And that's what I honestly like. That's what I think all the time when it comes with jobs. It's like, so if my recovery falls by the wayside because I have to fulfill this 70-hour-a-week commitment, if I then fucking go back out or I slip,
what's the point of it all?
What's the fucking point?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like we, you know, God bless the fact that we found our way into these rooms. If they're telling us that it needs to take top priority, we got to do it.
It was the biggest thing just to get a divorce out of back at that time. You know,
sure.
It was a big thing. And not only that, to say that, you know, you were a gambling addict, people, I mean, it was definitely under the covers on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so glad that today people are out there talking about this. And this is why I wrote the book.
Sure.
Not only to just help and heal people that are searching for answers in this addiction, and you know, as we sit in our modern world, the access to the gambling and everything like that. So I'm just, back then we did not have those tools, but I do wish even later when we were able to see him that we could have done something then.
Right.
Whether he would have complied or not is another story.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, but also me throwing in your face, we're only friends because we gambled. Now,
Right. That was your go-to.
The first time that I used that as a weapon, or any of the times when I would say that to you, how did that make you feel?
I think it would make me really pissed off. I would, you know, I never looked at it like you did. I mean, I understand that I enjoyed hanging out with you for a lot of the reasons you enjoyed hanging out with me. But, you know, I get close to people.
Right.
You know, I love my friends, I love my family, and I mean, you love your family, you know, just as much or more than anybody does. But, you know, I felt a surfacey relationship from you a lot when it came to these conversations, and it really was, it just kind of was disgusting. I mean, I hated you for that.
Yeah.
And it really, I say pissed off because it makes me angry. Like even right now, the amount of times I had to kind of defend that when it's like, why am I even defending myself to you? Like this is supposed to be an even,
right,
you know, relationship, and you know, it just wasn't. And when you would say those things and you would say it with just such a face and so serious and blunt and like, fuck you, it was really just caught me off guard. I think some advice to try to stay away from what happened to you and how long it went on. If you have any influence and somebody is asking about like moving away, this next big opportunity, you know, if you think that they're in trouble at all, you know, the goal is to keep them close, because what I experienced with you was, you know, you even sold it well to me, who knew more. And I think if you weren't able to create so much distance with everybody close to you, that you are pretty accountable. You know, I know you have the disease, and I believe it is a disease, and I really believe everything that you share on the Modern Meeting. But I do know how accountable you are to like your family and how close you are. And I just think, you know, the distance was the problem.
For sure.
So I would just say that without that, a lot of these issues don't happen. They don't get as bad.
It was very cold. I remember being about 10, 20 degrees, and I was on 395. By now, it's probably 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. I just stopped on the side of a road, pulled off at a rest stop or something, and I looked in the rearview mirror, and I started crying. And what hit me was, it wasn't something that I got up in the morning to plan to do. It wasn't the day I wanted to quit. It wasn't that I was seeking treatment or help. I had none of those thoughts, none of those original thoughts in my brain. But something hit me. I call it a spiritual awakening. I know that's used in recovery, but I really feel it was of some nature. Because what hit me at that moment was, I could steal more money. I could borrow more money. I could continue with this roller coaster. I didn't want to live that way anymore.
So I won this jackpot, and first jackpot, and I'd been gambling, like I said, 3 or 4 years by then. And I just remember, thinking, I'm feeling a lot better now, right? I know mom's okay. I got to decompress, and now I won my first jackpot. So it kind of reinforces that the gambling becomes this coping mechanism for me. And I really believe that was a transitional period for me. And so, of course, I go home, get mom's stuff, go up to the hospital, and I tell her, hey, I won a jackpot. And they're like, you were at the casino? And I was like, yeah, I was just a little overwhelmed, and nobody really said anything at the time, but I could kind of hear it in their tone of like, this was what you chose to do instead of go home and take a nap or something.
Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense, but it's not what you said before. So that makes me feel better. But just to reiterate what I've been trying to say is that I am coming from a place that, like, based on everything I know about you, which I feel like is a lot, if anyone did have something bad to say about you, they are misinformed, they're an asshole, and you shouldn't let you spiral into drinking or doing whatever the fuck you said. Me, I know for a fact I get it. There are some things in my life that people can absolutely pass judgment on me for, but I have a plan. It might be a triple marathon, not a sprint. I know where I'm going to end up. Yeah. It's just going to be on my timeline. Yeah. Everyone else can fuck off. Yeah. Kindly fuck off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I really think that we got to sprinkle some of that onto. Why do you keep going away? Like,
well, I'm just like waiting to say, like, all right, I'll start today. Adam, kindly fuck off.
That was good.
No,
that was really good.
No, it wasn't. No,
you know what? Just take it easy on yourself.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I know my tone isn't matching what I'm saying. But
you're
like,
passionate. I get it.
Yeah, like.
Hope you guys are having fun so far. A lot of great episodes so far. I mean, I think that two-parter with Noah, I mean, it's in my top 5, I think, as far as just, my favorite episodes that I'm proud of the most. I mean, that conversation, for the majority of those 2 episodes, like, that was a conversation that Noah and I had never had before. So it wasn't an interview. I mean, that was intense. And listening back to some of it, I was, oof, but obviously, huge thank you to Noah, not just for being on the podcast, but, just for being you and being one of my good friends and, yeah, being a loyal Modern Meeting listener. So shout out to Noah. And so up next, we're entering the post-Broke Girl Society phase of the Modern Meeting. Once I met Christina, it changed everything. I went from having guests on the podcast that were primarily just in my circle and in my network around Rhode Island and Massachusetts to now I'm interviewing guests from all over the country and eventually all over the world. So this is the post BGS phase of the Modern Meeting. Enjoy. Let's do it.
I was definitely a high functioning alcoholic and drug addict, but on the outside. Okay. So when people say high functioning, I don't know. I'm not sure if I really agree with that phrase, that description, because I was able to run my own business. I had, 2 kids, 2 little girls at the time. I was married. I had the house, I had the cars, I had all this stuff that I was managing. I wrote a dad blog at the time. Like, I had all this stuff going on. I mean, on the outside, I seemed successful, but on the inside, I was a shell. right? I hated myself. I wanted to disappear. I couldn't look in the mirror, and I didn't understand why I couldn't get it, and I didn't understand why I couldn't stop drinking or doing drugs, but I got everything done, right?
So I ultimately took the money and I went and I gambled it away as expected. I walked away with nothing. And not too long after, maybe the next day, an investigation was started because, of course, my officer in charge noticed the petty cash was missing. And so the Criminal Investigation Division, the CID, started their investigation. And I said, just stop. Let's find an office and sit down. And immediately confessed what I had done because I was so ashamed of what I had done at that point. And I didn't know what was happening to me. It's so weird because I knew what was happening. I knew an obsession was growing, but I had no idea what was really going on, that a disease was developing within me, that I had an addiction forming. I thought, what kind of weirdo have I become? I have these insane thoughts in my head. I'm obsessed. I can't stop doing this stuff. I need to stop, and I don't know how. So I just pulled them aside and I said, this needs to stop. Let me tell you what I did.
And did you ever cross that line into borrowing or taking out loans?
I didn't. And this is one of the things that made me feel like I don't have a problem, right? At that point, I was like, well, if I was really addicted, I wouldn't be able to stop,
right.
And I would be borrowing money from people, but I wasn't. I would just get my bank account to zero. And when it got really crazy, when I was 27 or 28, I got to this point where, it was Monday and my paycheck came on Friday and I had already lost my gambling money. And I would have this whole plan in my head, Friday is going to come. I'm going to pay off these bills. I'm going to take $2,000 and I'm going to stretch it until the next paycheck. At that point, I wasn't even trying to win. I was just trying to have enough ammunition so that I never had to be out of action. Right? It just it exists in this kind of subcutaneous level, right under the surface.
Yeah, and those VC guys who said it's not big enough, okay, just wait. Just wait if you think that this problem isn't big enough, So to everyone who's listening and they keep hearing us talk about Evive, give them the the elevator pitch of what Evive is and what Evive does.
Yeah, totally. So Evive is a mobile application. My whole concept behind this is, the gambling industry, especially like DraftKings and FanDuel, these online operators, they do what every other tech company has done forever, which is use technology and predictive analytics and marketing to make gambling as accessible and engaging and personalized as possible, right? It is in your pocket 24 hours a day. And the whole concept with Evive is, how do we take that same technology and use it to put support in your pocket 24 hours a day, right? So that you always have what you need 100% of the time.
I would love to know what my response was. And then about how you mentioned, we can tell my parents or something, or tell Michael, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
because I think you probably put that about, you could tell my parents or whatever, because I think I used to be like, I'm telling Ellie if you ask me again.
Yeah, or no, but also at that point, Ellie and Pete knew that I borrowed from you, and they were mortified, and they were like, you better fucking pay her back first.
Yeah.
Right? And so now, but I think what that text message does is that gives you a glimpse into the mind of a sick person.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It was really dependent on, was I serious about recovery or not?
Yeah, and so I'm just being honest. I whether you call me a whistleblower or not, they don't do anything. Most of them don't fucking do anything. But I'll tell you right now, if you win a jackpot, you ain't getting that money.
You're
if
not
you self-excluded.
getting it. Nope.
So that's just something to think about if you're out there and you're still gambling and you're thinking about. But I have a question for you, and be honest, clear your mind, give me the answer right away.
Okay.
Whatever comes in your head. If you could right now, today, if you could go press a button on your phone and self-exclude from every casino in the country.
In the world, yes.
You would?
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. And I was hoping that was a question that you were going to ask. And that's what makes me so excited about hearing about this.
Yeah.
Because the prospect of self-excluding from one, what's the point if you're not going to self-exclude from them all?
For sure.
And I did what any alcoholic mother would do. I took all of my COVID money and I went up to Hampton Beach and I got a hotel for 3 months and I opened the door and I left it open. Just slews of people and parties and acid, like I said, and so much cocaine and yeah. And then just numbing myself from everything, because that's what I was doing the entire time without realizing it, is I was numbing my childhood. I was numbing the abandonment and the rejection. But now I'm doing the same fucking thing to my kids, you know? And that's how I spent my summer of 2020.
The way it worked is the number runner would be they would go store to store or house to house, and you would give them money, and every day, and you would tell them the number, and you get a little slip with your number, and when you won, you would go down to Barboni's candy store to pick up your money. It was interesting though, Barboni's candy store, every once in a while when you go to pick up your money, they would say, the guy got hit and the police took all the slips. That would happen sometimes too, but they always ended up making good, because that neighborhood was controlled, and Tough Tony didn't want people to get screwed.
Right.
He was a good mafia.
Yeah.
And I remember it was the year that UMBC, University of Maryland, Baltimore County, beat Virginia. It was the first time a 16 seed in the March Madness tournament upset a 1 seed. And I didn't gamble on that game. And I think that looking back over my entire experience with gambling, the most frustration that I would feel is when I missed an obvious winner. Though, of course, that wasn't obvious. It was the first time it ever happened. But at the time, I told myself it was.
Right.
And so to make up for it, basically, I put everything that I had access to on them to win their next game, which they lost to Kansas State by like 9 or 10 points. And I had my back up against a wall for the first time, where I knew I was going to have to pay the bookie in a day. And so I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I have an absolute lock tonight. Like, I need you to extend me some more credit. He basically doubled my credit line for the one night that was left in the week. Yeah, because of course he did. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
And I ended up losing on a spring training baseball game because that was the only thing that was on that last day. And that was the first time that I had to tell my family that I had gambled too much. I didn't say I had a gambling problem. I said I made some bad decisions. And I go into the bathroom. That money was in my pocket with my phone. And I went to reach in for my phone, and all the money fell out onto the floor. And I scrambled and I picked it all up. And I was like, oh my God, I hope no one saw that. I don't want to get robbed. I don't want anyone to see that. Did I pick it all up? Like, did I leave some? I don't know. And then I was like, oh, wait, I might as well just throw that money back on the floor. Because if I don't, I'm just going to go out there and lose it anyway. If I put the money on the floor, someone could pick it up and leave with it and have a good day. That would be nice of me. I ended up picking it all up anyway, going back out, losing it all. But the thought was just, once again, kind of the same kind of thought I had in Paris 9 months before. What's the point? And I didn't have an answer. I was doing it just because I thought I was supposed to be doing it.
So here he is, Dave. Welcome to the Modern Meeting.
How you doing, Adam? Good to be here.
Yeah. So good to have
Everybody's going to want to know, why do they call you the head? Actually, I'm just kidding. In the 30 plus years that people have introduced me as the head, not one person has said, really, why? I wonder why. Not a one. Everybody just looks and goes, obviously.
You look good. You look good. That was my first question. It's like, when I first met you in 1995, you look exactly the same 30 years later. What's your secret?
Basically, what happened is I got fat at an early age, and it stretched my skin out. So it makes it, it looks younger. It's not as wrinkled. I'm just going to warn you now, one of my goals for today and for any people that are watching at the moment are going to be, my goal is to make Adam piss himself as much as possible.
But yeah, so how do you guys feel? So I guess my first question, as we're about to hit the 3 mile mark, every time I do this walk, whether it's by myself or with other people, I think about how during the 20 years of my addiction, not only did I never walk 12 miles, but like, how often did I do anything that was productive, that wasn't like something I had to do. Does that make sense?
Makes complete sense. Like the first time I did this is my second journey on 12 miles, and I can remember when I got in my car after the first time, I got like a little emotional because these are the things that I would never do during my active addiction. And bonding with true friends who care and not friends that are just there to drink with you. Like, I could never imagine doing this. It's one of those activities. And then, it was kind of awesome to go back into the work world or with other family and be like, hey, I did this. Like,
fuck yeah.
Having some, feeling of accomplishment by doing that last month. And, yeah, just an overall, great feeling.
I don't think anyone has made me laugh harder than Head did on episode 42. Shout out to Head. We got to go to a trivia night soon, brother. So this next batch of clips is NCPG and beyond. Thanks to Christina and the Lived Experience Collective, I got to go to the national conference last year in Columbus. And not only did I collect 1 million business cards and eventually get a bunch of people to come on the podcast, but I interviewed some people in my hotel room there, and it was awesome. And I'd say this is a pretty good time to announce that I'm very excited that I'm going to be presenting at this year's conference, the National Conference on Problem Gambling in Nashville. I'm going to be doing a 60-minute breakout session entitled Addiction Time Capsule. And yes, I'm going to be doing a presentation based on my YouTube videos that you guys are about to see in a little bit from when I gambled in 2020. So very excited for that. Looking forward to seeing all my people in Nashville. Definitely going to be awesome. It's going to be a different feeling this year. It won't be so much a deer in headlights, although obviously little gonna put together that presentation and figure out how to use PowerPoint. Just kidding, I know how to use PowerPoint, but you know what I mean. But it's exciting. But yeah, very excited.
So see you on the other side, the now famous ending of the Modern Meeting podcast.
Yeah.
Is the other side the same for everyone?
Oh God, I just got body chills. Oh,
is it the second you enter a room? The second
what a
something
question.
clicks for you? Is it the same thing that clicks for everyone? What is the other side, Adam?
Oh, the other side is exactly that. There's so many things. But when I say see you on the other side, I mean something good, right? Like something good. Whatever that is.
No, but I'm saying, like, in your mind, when you think about it.
Oh yeah, no.
Is it the second somebody walks into a recovery room, they have a chance?
Yes.
And that's it? Or is it the second that powerlessness clicks and that's when they have a chance?
Yes.
Or
it's all those
the second
things.
they start doing step work and that's when like, you're now doing the work, now it's going to click? Like, what is it?
It's all of those things. It's when they're fighting with their spouse for a month and then they finally have that talk and they break through. See on the other side. You know what I mean? Oh,
okay.
I'm like cold right now. I'm so that's
when I wrote that question down, I was like, this is the best question.
But no, yeah, like that's how I feel when I say it. It's because honestly, like all of that being said, they're all different. And like, when I end it and I say like, see you on the other side, like I'm thinking of what I just said. And it's like I think that okay, maybe to just like not have a cop out, but like what is the ultimate see you on the other side? I'd say it's when you complete step one.
Yeah, when you acknowledge,
when you surrender,
when you admit powerlessness, when surrender happens.
That is the ultimate,
and you mean it.
Yeah, that's the
You're
ultimate.
Not just reading it.
Yeah, that's the ultimate see you on the other side. Is you're in the depths of all that shit.
Yep.
And you fucking what did we say? I think you said it last. The win is in the surrender. Like you say that all the time, don't you?
That's a poly. That's a poly special.
Why let me slide up in the fish table spot? That was my thing.
Fish table spot. What's that?
A fish table.
Yeah, what's that?
And so if anybody doesn't know what a fish table is, imagine like a huge TV laying flat like a table.
Okay.
And you've got 3, 4, 5 control stations like an arcade game set up around it. You got one button to increase or decrease your bet, and then you've got another one to fire, and you've got a joystick. And these fish or dragons or animals or whatever it is fly across the screen, and your multiplier is however much your bullets are, 5 cents all the way up to $5. And so if you hit the thing, you're not guaranteed to kill it. Now I understand more about odds, of course, working in gambling recovery. But then, honestly does feel like it's a skill-based game.
It sounds like a skill-based game.
It feels that way. But I would just continue, I'd put 20, 40 in at a time. So I had a few $1,000s when I came back from selling that car and, getting all the stuff moved. And I was in there. I say it was wee morning hours. It was still dark.
Mm-hmm.
And the sun was up. It was later morning towards lunch when I left.
Yeah.
And I still thought I had money in my pocket. And I reached in there and there was nothing left. Like I thought I had at least several hundred. I knew I was down, bad. I knew it was bad. And it was gone. And that happened multiple times like that.
Sure. The other side of it, the science side of it, the clinical side of it, whatever you want to call the other side, they do want to hear from us. There's just not a lot of us that are putting our voices out there, which is fucking why I fucking started this podcast. So, but that's the problem, is that some of these voices, some of these lived experience voices are stuck in these fucking anonymous rooms.
It's what works for that person. Yeah. But yeah.
Listen. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Stop thinking like a GA guy.
No, what?
And just start thinking like a human being.
So listen.
But he answered like a GA guy, and there's a lot of people in GA who would have the same answer, like, this is enough for me. I'm not worried about other people. And that's where we need to turn a little bit. Like, if we want to really care about other people, there's got to be a change that happens.
I agree.
I don't go into my sessions as the expert. I never do. Number one, imposter syndrome. I don't feel like an expert by any means, and I'm not an expert by any means, and I most certainly am not an expert of your life. And clients look at me and ask, like, what can I do? How do I change this? And I will flat out say, I don't know. And they'll look at me like, wait, why am I here? And I'm like, you have to tell me what you want and what factors in your life are part of that so I can help you. I can't give you the answers because I'm not you. I haven't lived your life. I don't know what this looks like. And, it's kind of a joke. I'm a very down-to-earth clinician. I'm a very direct clinician. I use a lot of sarcasm and dark humor because I am you. Like, I am not the person that's like, oh, tell me more about that and I'll hold your hand. Absolutely not. Don't fucking cry on my couch. I'm going to throw the tissues at you. And my clients appreciate that. And, I like... My clients, everybody's like, I never see you when I'm at work or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, because my clients show up. And it's because I show up for them.
Mm-hmm. If someone's in Oregon, they want to, how does that work?
Most of the people that come to my agency called a hotline that is published around Oregon. It can be on like bus placards. It's on all of the video lottery machines, which I think there's 12,000 of them or something in Oregon. There's a placard or a sticker.
So you guys don't have casinos. You don't have gambling?
We have 9 casinos.
Oh,
they are
okay.
not the problem. The problem is the availability, that there are 6 slot machines at many, many restaurants, delis, strip malls within.
It's like Vegas.
I mean, it's worse
Yeah.
because it's next to your house. When
right,
it's usually within a mile or so of folks, and that's when we say, like, when a casino comes into an area that doesn't really have a ton of gambling, Hawaii's going to go through this. The people in the immediate vicinity are the ones that are going to experience the gambling harm. Well, the casinos are now coming into our pockets, to the palm of our hand on our phone. So, do the math.
And then I just remember, as I'm looking around, like, it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock on a Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day it was. And I'm just thinking to myself, Adam, I just sat down and I thought to myself, how did I get here? How the fuck am I here? I'm on a business trip being promoted to a manager level. They're sending me here for training. And I am using downtime to go to this dingy racetrack. I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. And I couldn't think of anything else. And that was the first time I really thought to myself, dude, you are in trouble.
And we're also 19 years away from your abstinence date.
That's right. That's right. There's a lot of damage to come.
And yeah, I completely took advantage of you and your generosity. And yeah, it's just it's obviously, it goes without saying, I'm very sorry.
You don't.
It's
It's not a thing where you say sorry, because like moving forward and being productive, and right now what you're going through and how you're doing it, that's the sorry. Like, you don't have to say sorry to me, you know what I mean? Like, if I know you're moving in the right direction, I'm always going to root for that. Like, I'm not going to, it's just like any of my friends, no matter how bad situations get amongst each other, if someone's moving in a positive direction, that's the thing that, at least to me, that's the thing that means the most.
And so he would take me, if I wanted to hang out with him, and this was his rule, it was like, if you want to hang out with me, we have to go to a meeting every night. We're from Boston, so we say meeting, right? Like,
right.
So it's like, that's what we're doing. We're going to a meeting. And it's like, all right, so, we're going to go see the Celtics. It's like, okay, we're going to see the Celtics at 8, but there's a 7 o'clock meeting in East Boston.
In Dorchester or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
So this was the thing. I was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like going to these like NA, both AA and NA meetings in like weird parts of Boston from a really like inappropriately young age.
Amazing.
Like something I would not, like I've got 2 little boys and I'm like, would I let my boys go to the meetings at the, like, probably not, like maybe not, but Fred, like my parents trusted him completely. And I did too. And he always took care of me. And I see, it's like, I don't know if people were holding things back because I was in the room or not. I hope they weren't. But I heard a lot of really wild stuff at a really sort of young age. So I got this sort of deep knowledge of addiction from the AA-NA perspective from a very young age. You got to take it seriously.
Right.
And that's the bit about, like, I kind of like is back to the funny bit. It's like, well, yeah, because the work we do, if we do a bad job, like right now, we are probably, like, I get to make decisions that affect like 10 to 20% of all of the dollars spent on gambling addiction research in America, which is a little bit intimidating.
Yeah.
But it's like, so we got to get it right. Mm-hmm. Like, this is not, we can't make stupid errors. We can't get something wrong because we didn't read it carefully. We can't make those types of errors because I've got to make decisions that potentially affect 20% of the dollars spent on research for the whole country on gambling addiction. So we got to do it right, and we got to take it seriously.
Yeah.
And so, like, I get pissed at, like people that have experience, I get less pissed at because they're doing a whole, like, you got to just stay clean today. Whatever it takes to stay clean today, I'm on board with that.
Right.
But it's like when someone says something like, it's bullshit about the work, it's like, man, it's not. But then I get pissed at the scientists too.
Right.
Because I'm like, did you read the previous work? Like, are you here to like fight over this thing and like die for it? Because if you're not, I don't want you here. I want you doing something else.
Yes.
Because like, this is important.
Like, we knew he was playing video games, assumed too much, like every other kid, which I wish I had maybe been a little firmer about. I don't know if it would have mattered, but he would, and it tended to happen now around holidays and stuff, which makes sense because that's when he would get money, and he would just disappear and he would buy, he would be on the video game. And I just thought he was on a video game, which was also annoying, but I had no idea that it was this level of just any gambling at all, really. And he would buy the skins and he would tell us, well, you can get money out, when I buy the skin, I can get money for it. And we were like, you can't get money. It's not a real thing. Like, you're not going to get money. And he's like, no, you could get money. And we would kind of fight about it. And I was like, I don't know what, like, you don't know what you're talking about, because I had no idea that this was going on or this was even a thing.
What I did in the beginning for GA was I always looked for differences. You gambled brick and mortar. You gambled on things I didn't gamble on. You're doing drugs still. Like, I looked for all these differences in the people. And then when I got more time in the program, I found that I'm very similar to everyone in this room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the person who's 75 and has like 43 years of abstinence and gambled brick and mortar when he was in his 20s, like, he's still a compulsive gambler. I'm still a compulsive gambler, and I'm very similar to him because we both had a gambling problem. It doesn't matter like what we gambled on or anything like that. It just matters that we have a gambling problem. And his stories about like 40 years ago on his like gambling stories are relatable now that I actually listen instead of just thinking about my own stuff.
I feel like had the debt
not been there, I never would have ended up on the cliff top. You know, I felt like I would have gone on day by day for as long as I could, and when that debt was going to creep up to the fact that, I mean, the elephant in the room is there was a way out of all of this, right? The way out is to ask for help,
right?
And it's crazy to think back now that was so unfathomable that I could ask for help, that I would look at all of these things to do first, borrow amounts of money I couldn't pay back, tell lies to the people I love, end up on a cliff top, phone the Samaritans, eventually start taking drugs when I'd never taken drugs. I was not into drugs all of my life, but I ended up with a cocaine problem because I was self-medicating the depression.
I had looked into Zoom before and just thought, I don't know how to do this. I need somebody to show me how am I, and I was desperate enough that I went to the Apple store, downloaded Zoom, and logged on to that meeting. And to the credit of the host of the meeting, I'm going to shout out Alan Kay. He was hosting the meeting, and I didn't know how Zoom worked. I didn't know that they knew I was in the room. I think I'm just like lurking and listening. And he calls on me and he says, Linda F., you're new. Would you like to turn on your camera and introduce yourself? And I freaking flipped out. Like, oh my God, they know I'm here. And I said nothing. And he said, and to his credit, he said, it's okay. No big deal. Stick around and listen. We'll circle back. And if you want to speak, speak. And if you just want to listen, listen. And they're a 2-hour meeting. And I listened for an hour and a half. And after an hour and a half, he said to me, Linda, would you like to introduce yourself? And I turned on my camera and I turned on my microphone and I started talking.
The restaurant that I worked in, I left the gym at about age 21, 22, and I started working in a restaurant. And it didn't help that the two owners of the restaurant were Chinese, and Chinese loved to gamble in Liverpool. So I'd be at the casino most nights, especially on a Saturday night when I'd get paid in cash. I'd be at the casino with most of the people from the restaurant. I borrowed money off. This would happen quite frequently, where I'd borrow more money than I could afford off one of the owners, and then I'd be working for free for the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks, because I'd just be having to pay them back. The kitchen lights on at the back of the hallway. I couldn't see that from the front of the house because it's the very back of the house, and my heart just sinks. I'm like, she's in the kitchen. I've said I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. Close the door, walk into the kitchen. The kitchen's like a rectangular shape. As I get in there, my wife's over to the left at the kitchen, at the sink. I just sit down at the table and I just come out with something along the lines of, it's all gone. Everything's gone. But in a bit more detail than that. And my wife, who's facing the kitchen sink as I tell her, stops what she's doing, like turns around. So she's like 5 months pregnant at this point, turns around. She's now got her back to the sink, to the cupboard. She just slumps down to the floor and just lets out this noise, like this scream, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like, the worst sound I'd ever heard in my life. So me being the gentleman that I am, I try to get up and run over there as quick as I can to comfort her. And as soon as I push my chair back and stand up, she just screams at me, don't come near her, leave her alone, don't go anywhere near her.
Again, starting in the kind of drug and alcohol space, the big difference that I see with the gambling is you don't see it until it's a major problem.
Exactly.
That with drugs, with alcohol, you may, notice some things early on and can see some things, physical things that are happening. And it's not so much with especially the gambling today on your phone, and, you could hide it and, all of a sudden it's a, big problem.
And I think a lot of times there's these intergenerational, waves of trauma that very much impact gambling, and they increase gambling behavior, and then problematic gambling behavior increases trauma, and it goes down through the generations. And so that's one of the reasons I really like to look at these like kind of family dynamics and what's happening in terms of the relationships in the families. If you think of suicide, we know that gambling rates have disproportionately high rates of suicide. I call it the overdose of gambling disorder is suicide. I mean, it's devastating. And it's so extreme to take one's life. It's the ultimate violence against oneself. The other expression of that violence is towards others, right?
Right.
And I think we're not talking about that. And this isn't to say like, oh, you know, people are terrible or good guys, bad guys. Not at all. It's like, what is this emotional dysregulation? Gambling is a piece of this and is like fuel to the fire when you start looking at issues of family violence, including child abuse and neglect, and then intimate partner violence.
Well, you know, when I said when I stopped drinking that I went into abstinence and that I didn't do the work, the amazing thing about recovery, that people are in recovery, is we have truly looked inward. I always said that I had this, I visualized it as this black hole in me, and that I was just sucking in all this thing, you know, buying, drinking, smoking, risk taking to try to fill this hole. Well, it was a black hole. I couldn't fill it. Black holes can't be filled. When I was able to quit gambling and go in recovery, that's when I realized I had to fill it with gratitude, with spirituality, with things that weren't tangible. But in my 40s, I didn't know all that.
So you and I drove to Turning Stone, a 4-hour drive. We weren't going to sleep there because why would you sleep? And if anything, we would just sleep in the car for 2 hours.
And Turning Stone's in upstate New York.
Yeah, it's like
we're not 21 yet.
4.5 hours away, 5 hours away from where we lived.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And I said, Adam, no matter what, I have this Sunoco gas card with $11 on it. So if we find a Sunoco, we're good. And
Driving home,
we'll get home.
So we can blow everything we have.
Because, you know, we're driving there, and I don't remember if you convinced me. I don't know if I need to be convinced, but I drove there knowing I was going to overdraft my bank account by $200.
Yeah.
So we drove there, overdrafted, probably both of us overdrafted, played 1-3 limit hold'em with $200 and chased every straight possible and lost. And I don't remember how long we gambled for or whatever, but we didn't sleep, and we were so angry we were just going to drive home. And I remember calling your dad somewhere probably around Springfield or, you know, just west of Worcester. And I remember you saying, Dad, I don't know if Matt and I are going to get home. Because the spoiler, the Sunoco gift card had nothing on it. So
you liar.
I had to kind of find my way. And Christina, actually, I loved Christina. She's just amazing. She started Broke Girls just a short time into my recovery. And I was hooked. You know, her thinking process of being curious and finding out what works for you and pulling a little from here and a little from there and a little from here and forming your own base for what works for you and creating a life. You know, I'm going to steal this from her. I do it all the time, creating a life that you want to live in and not escape from. And I was so drawn into that concept, so drawn into that because it just kind of matched.
Yeah, we've seen a drastic change in people who are sports betting, and not just sports betting, but into slot machines, you know, those video lottery terminals. So, I mean, we know that with increased accessibility, availability, and acceptability of the product, right? Like now, more than ever before, Americans are in support of gambling legislation. It's acceptable to gamble. It's accessible. Back in 2012, you had to drive some miles. You know, here in Columbus, we had 2 properties. We still have 2 properties that you'd have to drive to. But now at the casino, the sports book is in my pockets everywhere. And, you know, we have seen a drastic increase, not just, you know, since then, but in the past 2 years in like younger males, usually between the ages of 18 and 26 who are coming into treatment, who are reporting, you know, harm being done within a year, 2 years of their betting. Yeah, they may have started when they were 16, 17, but legally they've only have bet on the book for about a year or 2 before they have caused serious financial damage.
There were some friends who had probably seen me at the machines, probably thought like, oh, he seems to do that a bit, but I really tried to keep it detached. I really didn't talk much about it because that would also have to like shine a spotlight on it. What I understand now about gambling is that it does its best work when it's in the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And so the less people knew, the more freedom, the more open of a playground the gambling had to be able to exist and work its magic.
Yeah.
And again, right, there's that logical part of me that knew that shrouding everything in secret was causing its own harm. But then there was that part of me that just really wanted the peace, the harmony that I talked about, all those components. So I didn't really talk much about it.
So I'm in Macau, in the middle of China. There's nobody knows me there. There's no GA brothers. I said, what the heck? I'm walking through the casino and I said, they have all these, Asian slot machines, which are crazy. And next thing you know, I played some slots and I didn't really lose. Maybe I won or lost. I don't even know. It was insignificant because I was in GA already for like
15 years. Yeah.
exactly. And then, and I got home and I didn't have the courage in the room to say, hey, guy, because I was like the centerfold of GA Monthly. Okay. I came in here $1 million plus in debt, got married, 2 kids, car. I mean, I had an amazing recovery. I paid back every penny, on and on. And then here I am lying in the room, sitting in the room going, my name is Robert G. I haven't gambled in 15 years. And it was bullshit. I was lying. I didn't have the courage. I was so embarrassed. And so many people looked up to me and this and that. I was lying in the room for about a year.
So the next episode might be my favorite episode of the 99 episodes, and it is Ellie's episode, my mom. If there's one episode right now that I think you guys should go back, for those of you who are listening to the Modern Meaning for the first time right now, I'm sure there's some of you that started on episode 100. Hello, welcome. If you want to go back to episode 68. That is where I sat down with my mom and my dad, but mostly my mom, and we talked about everything. It was pretty awesome. And here it is. Here's a small clip from that episode right now.
Even though you can't say that. I can't remember the last time you've gone to a casino you had fun. You're always miserable when you're gambling. Dad's sitting next to you shaking his head yes.
Yeah.
So what is it? This is good. We're trying to figure it out.
I know. Peel back the onion. I don't know what.
I mean, listen, there are people in GA who've been there 20 years who don't know why. They just, you know what I mean?
Put it this way. If you were to give me $2,000 cash right now and said, go up to the casino and, just go play and have fun, I would do that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what does that make me? Why wouldn't I say, oh no, give me that $2,000 and I'm going to go buy myself a new wardrobe or whatever? I mean, free money like that, I would take it and go to the casino. So.
But you don't care if you win.
I don't like to lose, especially if it's my money.
You hate to lose.
I hate to lose my money, but I don't know. I just,
it's interesting. This is great.
I liked going to the casino.
Right.
And because of you now, I've learned so much from you in terms of the damage it does to somebody.
You expect to lose, you don't expect to win. I could take X number of dollars and go to get food and see a movie, or I could take the same X number of dollars and go gamble with it. But either way, I'm expecting to just pay that for the entertainment. Going out to see a movie shouldn't be causing an argument at home. It shouldn't be causing stress, guilt, or shame. Going to gamble shouldn't be causing an argument at home, should not be causing stress, guilt, or shame. So when people start sort of feeling like gambling is starting to cause some of these issues, or it's starting to take more of their money in their recreational spending than it should be, that's where I start to be concerned, even if it's not really causing any problems. There might be a one-off oops, but not that big a deal kind of an oops. When we start to see a pattern of oopses, when we start to see that it is taking more of their time, more of their money, more of their mental energy than a general hobby should be taking, then we're concerned.
In this past year, I'm super proud of coming forward. I'm super proud of being at a point in my life that telling my story excites me. There was the first time I spoke on this podcast, many people in my life didn't even know I was in GA. and that was a year in. Now I'm excited to tell anybody who will listen. As far as goals for this coming year, I really need to find a place in my life that I can feel comfortable allowing myself to set big goals. Because for a long time, I needed to get out of Fantasyland, right? I needed to get out of, if I just hit that jackpot, I'm going to get a brand new car. I'm going to buy a new house. I'm going to take care of my parents. They're never going to have to pay for anything ever again. I really wanted so many times in my life to just have this easy door to open, and boom, there was everything I ever wanted. So I had to literally pull everything to one day at a time. And I think I've talked about it on this podcast. My goals were get the laundry done. Check. Take my medicine on time. Check. And it was small term goals to get in the habit of setting goals and following through. And so for this next year, my goal is to start setting more goals and checking off bigger goals.
And as I sit here right now, like, I'm honestly not ready to quit. I know that if I go in here and win right now, I'm gonna want to keep going. And I also know that if I go in and lose right now, okay, it might be a rough couple weeks, and fucking overdraft fees up the ass, and PayPal, I bounce PayPal and I bounce Venmo and all this shit. But 2-3 weeks, like, I'll get out of it. I'll be okay. I'll be back to fucking even. And then the minute I get money in my pocket, I'd probably gamble again. But I knew everything. It's fucking fascinating. I hope you guys think it is too. But yeah, like, I was playing everything out before it was going to happen. I knew if I lost how I would feel. I don't know. It's really that last part was hard. This is getting hard to watch. This is getting hard to watch. So we bought in for 200. Came to the casino with 520. We now have a little over 1,000. So it was a good start to the night, but I didn't come here to win 500 bucks. I came here to hit fucking 10 grand. And that is the story of my gambling life. I don't want my phone to die. I think I want to go to another Keno slot. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, let's recap. That sentence just there, it could be on my fucking gambling tombstone. I mean, I came, I won, I doubled my money, right? And I 5x'd my money 3x'd my money after the craps table. But bottom line is I walked in there with 580 and I now have 980. I made 400 bucks. But no, I want 10,000. That's what he just said. I want 10,000. Now, I get the logic of we didn't come here to make 500 bucks. Once again, I get the logic as a compulsive gambler. Like, no compulsive gambler who's filming their last night gambling is going to go and be like, oh, I doubled my money. Yep. No, I get it. But, like, I believe him where it's like, and once again, earlier when I said, like, if I had hit the 8 out of 8 and got up to 3 grand, that was not leaving that fucking casino. What we know about gambling, right? There's not a ton of research, but what we do know, who is the number one demographic that is prone to problem gambling? Young males, right? Who are the people playing in these leagues? Young males, okay? Also, there's a reason
that athletes are oftentimes put in these spots because that's a big characteristic of someone who struggles with gambling is the competitiveness, right? Like you've talked about it in your story. Like sometimes you thought it was just like you just wanted to be right. Like that's what athletes are.
That's what it was a lot of the time, most of the time.
And
Yeah.
then the last point, there's plenty of studies that show this is that, racial and ethnic minorities, young males, they are the most prone to problem gambling. What do you think, based on your experience, based on all the people that you've talked to, if someone identifies that they have a problem, like what's their first step?
I'd say the first step is to, I don't know how practical this sounds to someone struggling that much, but to stop thinking, stop trying to think your way to a solution to the problem. Because for me, that's what I love so much about GA is that here it's just a list of things to do it, and don't bother questioning it. Because in my addiction, I struggled with trying to find out answers, or I'm going to think it, I'm going to have more willpower. So that's what I would tell someone struggling is don't try to solve this in your thinking.
I love that. I love that.
My favorite stat that I started telling people about that time was like, so I lost my virginity when I was 18, freshman in college, to the girlfriend I had. And, back to the map, I'm at Eastern, she's at Michigan State, and the casino's here. So she's right in the middle. And, I lose my virginity, have sex for the first time, few more times. And then all of a sudden I started lying to her and saying, hey, I got to get up early for work. I should go home, rather than staying and doing what you do as a kid who just lost his virginity. I would lie to her to go gamble. And so at 18, I'm choosing gambling over sex, which is insane to me now.
Yeah.
Like now that doesn't make any sense in my head. But at the time, it shows me now how addicted I was at the time.
What kept you away?
Podcast, because I was so excited of because it was scratching the itch of performing in a way, right? I'm talking, so it's a little, and it got me, like the podcast got me opportunities to talk. It got me opportunities to meet people I never thought I'd meet. I mean, I'm talking to some guy in Australia I've never met, and like we're friends. We've never met in person, but we're friends because he was like one of the first people to email me. And so I loved that aspect of it. I loved, the opposite of addiction is connection. And it was the connections I made through the podcast. I was so excited about the podcast. I couldn't even fathom gambling.
They're a little tricky because it's one way that is easy to overspend because it's not money that's coming out of your account. And as humans, our brains are wired to not really see it as money. So that can be a danger to having the credit cards. The other part about credit cards is banks are pretty wily when it comes to hiding the fees, hiding how much you're paying, hiding if they have an annual fee, like all of those things. So I always recommend, if you're getting a credit card, obviously read the fine print, but they have what's called a Schumer box on every credit card statement now that they have to put, that tells you what your interest rate is. If you take out a cash advance, we'll talk about that in a second, what that interest rate is, and if you're paying an annual fee. So they have to tell you all of that. The main thing with credit cards is they can be useful because they can help you build your credit, improve your credit. There are other ways to do that now, so it's not as important as it used to be to have a credit card, but use it smart.
Honestly, we talked about money all the time, and they would tell me the amounts of money. I mean, they were spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on gambling trips. And mind you, this is a family that we were living on like Social Security and on welfare, and not any sort of on truly fixed incomes that put us in low tax brackets. I got free lunches through school, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And we were spending this significant amount of money at a time, and it actually did lead to some issues with some of my family members, as far as obviously the legal stuff. That was probably why they did a lot of the legal problems they did. There was a lot of theft, a lot of shoplifting charges, that sort of thing that happened in my family. And I know it was to fund the gambling that went on.
So like when you got up to 355, what were the things that led to that? Was it fast food? Was it when you ate? Was it the amount that you ate?
It was all of the above. So at my worst, Adam, I'm not happy to say, but I'd finish work I'd be driving home to have dinner, with my wife, because I've since remarried. And on my way home to have dinner, I would stop at McDonald's and buy a Big Mac and French fries or 4 Dunkin' Donuts or something like that. I I'd get it. So it was all about the getting, and this is where it's very similar to gambling. I think it wasn't so much about tasting the food or the pleasure of eating the food. It was the getting of the food. I'd get it. There it was, the Big Mac. I'm sitting in my car in the parking lot, and I'm eating that bad boy. And I swear to you, I don't taste it. I'm just making. I don't even taste it.
Don't underestimate this disease. Oof, disease. I know. That word is tough to hear. And so is the truth. And yes, some people feel it's too harsh of a word. So I guess I'm speaking for me. But the reason I'm always going to call it a disease is that it's because that's exactly how it felt for me. My relationship with gambling was never normal. I lost control. My life became unmanageable. I was sick. I needed help. I couldn't do it on my own. This thing took me down for 20 years. And once I finally surrendered, I stayed away from a bet because I finally respected the disease enough to take real action. Meetings, a sponsor, accountability, removing triggers, writing, walking, connection. These weren't chores. These were lifelines. This was medicine. This was my plan of action after years of talking and bullshitting and promising and swearing I'd stop, swearing I'd get help. If you're ready to fight back, are you? Are you ready? Let's go. Find your people. Make a plan. Your plan.
Now, I see a lot of the things that are embedded in the 12 steps. I think if someone's even just working with a clinician, there's a lot of little things in those 12 steps that, clinicians, it might, like doing a financial inventory. I think that's really important, right? It's in the
Absolutely.
steps, but it's, if you're working with someone outside of GA, that's something they should be doing, right? Things like
Yeah.
that, making amends. And, I think another big part of recovery is giving back. And I see, people that give back really, I always look at like giving back as like paying insurance premiums on your recovery. You're giving back. You're doing a podcast and a lot of other things. It's just you're paying that insurance premium. No matter what kind of recovery you're in, giving back is a huge, sharing what you did to help others. It doesn't matter what kind of recovery you're in. I think that's a huge piece. I'm a firm believer in that.
The only reason why my electric, I've said this many times, why my electric and my Wi-Fi got paid on time is because I needed that to gamble. If I didn't have electricity and I didn't have Wi-Fi, I couldn't gamble. They're the reasons why those two bills got paid. But my gas bill, £5 to last me 2 weeks. Just having a little bit of a bath here and there, letting myself go. I looked terrible. In activity addiction, I looked terrible. And I didn't have any care for myself. I genuinely didn't care. I didn't care about the harm I was causing. I didn't care about myself.
Looking forward to 2026. Any parting thoughts for the listeners? Just besides keep doing it.
Just keep waking up every day and making those small obtainable goals, whatever they are
Amen.
for the day. Just keep
Amen.
doing it. Keep being curious about what's going to be helpful.
Yes.
Just keep moving forward.
So we're in the home stretch, and it's 2026. The cold opens are almost over, or at least my story is almost over. And I'm about to go back to 2 episodes with guests on Tuesdays and the solo episodes on Friday. I also did the blue curtain thing. Shout out to Mike. Thank you for the curtain. But I don't know. I kind of miss the old setup with like the YouTube handwritten advertisement on the whiteboard downstairs, but I don't know. I almost want to find a new place with an extra bedroom just so I can like set up an actual cool studio. We'll see. But yeah, so here is the rest of the episodes, and I will say goodbye to you guys after episode 99. And so if I download BetBlocker, what are my options as far as what I can block myself from?
You can block yourself from a regulated and unregulated sites in one go. So you download the software. I think at the moment we block over 325,000 websites and apps. So, there's a lot of them.
Can you imagine there's 325,000 different places to place a bet? Holy shit.
It's mind-boggling,
Oh my God.
And, with this sort of thing, it's just one click. Sometimes you may have your national self-exclusion, but, a bit of, it can be sometimes a bit of a hassle because you block yourself from regulated sites, but then it's really easy to find unregulated sites. So it's important to have both.
But I can't afford that because I need the love that comes to me because I do have those poor me days. There's no doubt. And I have those not just because of my eyesight. I have those because of my self-worth is still low. I have those on my days where maybe the bipolar disorder might, whatever. We all have self-pity days. And for me to be able to step back and drop on my knees to thank God or to be able to say to you on a given day, thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for your kind words. I have that. And I have that in GA, and the modern Zoom meeting allows people to say these things to me that help me through the shit days and through the shit time. And I'm so appreciative of it.
And you help a lot of other people too, my friend. That's a good place to end.
So for me, I think that's like a big distinction that I try to make with people when I'm doing counseling is that I want them to be able to share with me and be able to discuss and reach a level of vulnerability. But also, I'm not trying to be the person that just tells them what to do or what they should do. One thing that I want to be able to do, just like he did, was understand what it's like to be you. Like I want to know more of like how it is for you when you're struggling with this, when you are challenged with this, when you are having this difficulty. I don't need to say, well, this is how to fix it. I just want to know, hey, what's it like to be you when you're knowing that gambling is a struggle, a challenge, but yet you can't stop? Like, help me understand what's that like for you. And part of that is to help someone feel like they're seen.
And he was saying, like, when it comes to drinking, it can be awkward, but for the most part, like, we know, don't drink and drive, don't overserve someone. It's okay if your buddy is drinking at the bar and they're about to, go drive home and you say, hey man, let me get your keys. Let me call you a cab. The equivalent of that for gambling is extremely awkward. And you're likely going to get someone really upset if you say, hey, I see you're depositing a lot of money while we're watching this game. Do you want to chill out? Or how about we just sit back and enjoy the game? Like, that is very uncomfortable. And I don't know what it's going to take to correct that, but we need people in our lives to help us, steer us in the right direction. I'm sure you know a lot more than I do about what that could look like, because it sounds really challenging.
And it is, and it's I almost ask it every episode. If I have someone on who works in the space, I say, why are people that are struggling with alcohol and drugs, they're ready to shout it from the rooftops, but if someone's struggling with gambling, they're hiding. And everyone tells me the same thing. It's because of the stigma. It's because money, right? Like, people would rather talk politics nowadays than talk about money.
I've had so many strategies from my sponsors. One of my favorite is, Ted, if you ever have to walk in or past a gaming area and you find your eyes drawn towards the sound of a machine, he says, I want you to not look at the machine. I want you to look at the faces of the people playing the machines. And wow, that takes me back so quickly because so many of them are just zombie land,
God, I love that.
And it's such a great strategy because you can tell people that are there as tourists, they're having fun. Maybe a few family members are gathered around. And then there's me, there's a glass of something here and a cigarette in this hand. And I don't drink or smoke, but I was definitely that zombie guy playing a couple machines. And
so to be 100% transparent, it was a mixture of the AA, GA, God, the network, praying, working the steps, getting a sponsor. I got a therapist. I got a psychiatrist, You know, I had all of those things, and it was a mixture of all of that. But I do believe God uses all those things to help us, resources. So that was my journey. That was my pathway. And I don't force that on anyone because I do believe there's multiple pathways in recovery. But I do recommend it and suggest all of those things. At least trying God, at least trying the AA, trying the steps, you know, all of those things.
And, you know, she said something that has been rattling around in my brain ever since that night. She said, you know, Adam, everybody has something, right? Everybody is dealing with something. So anyone who, you know, wants to give you shit or wants to judge you, she didn't say this, I'm saying this now. You know, anyone who wants to judge you, anyone who wants to look down on you or make you feel like you should keep your mouth shut, fuck them. And you fly your freak flag or your recovery flag, or whatever flag you have, you fly that shit.
When I hear people talk about how, you know, they have periods of not gambling and then they lapse, to me, there hasn't been a resolution of shame attached to gambling. And that's intentional by the industry as well. So they use terms like problem gambler or gambling addict, or, you know, it's putting all of the onus on the individual. And then they're able to go, we're just providing entertainment. There's nothing to see here. Let us just continue our business. It's you that has the problem. So there's absolutely no way of being able to step out of that shame without knowing all that's at play.
So for 12 days, I put this off, and then I did it in 5 minutes. And then the next day, I brought them to a Walgreens in like Dartmouth that had like a FedEx thing, and I dropped them off, and it was good. Now, I walked out of there with like that same good feeling of accomplishment, that feeling of relief, that literally like weight was lifted off my shoulders. But at what cost? Like, okay, I'm happy that I felt good and I did it, but why did it take me 12 days and an extra $60? My dad is probably driving off the road right now when he hears this while he's listening to this. I get it. This is part of my, this is what I got to dig into in my recovery. It's not about the gambling. I know I can't fucking gamble. It's this shit. It's the procrastination. It's the weird things that and like I said, I did it in 5 minutes. I don't know.
And there was one behaviorist professor who challenged all the 12 steppers, and he made their lives miserable because he would be like, higher power is ridiculous. You did it. It's your behavior. You know, Skinner, Pavlov, all this. I kind of agree with him half and half. So the point is, he challenged us to just look at it from another way. So I had some good early influences to have enough intellectual courage and honesty to say, okay, I love what I'm a part of, but I should be able to examine, challenge, defend, debate, and be open to anything, because why wouldn't I? Why would I be so scared? So I think that helped me to be able to look from the inside out. They introduced us to a couple of different philosophies.
I feel for these people. Obviously, I'm rooting for them to get back on the horse. But, you know, one thing that, for the person listening right now, that I think is super important, think about all the times when we gambled, when we lied, okay? Me, it was, lying was literally like breathing, okay? Those lies is the reason that for the first year and a half of my recovery, I cried every share, because all of those lies just stuck with me and they just sat there, and I just carried around all of that guilt and shame from the dishonesty and just the way I lived my life. If you're in recovery right now, if you're going to meetings right now, and you're sharing and you're lying, the same thing is happening.
And because we focus on addiction and behavioral health and mental health, we're focusing on stigma reduction all around. All around. So we talk openly about diagnoses and medicine and prescriptions. That's one thing. Another thing is we go out in the community and we make these conversations normal. We have public forums where we talk about all of our programming as well as hear from our community. But we're also saying that these things are happening all around us. Let's talk about some of the signs that we may see, right? And you can always see around the room, everyone's raising their hand. I've seen that. I've seen that. I've experienced that myself. So normalizing what is happening in our community so that people are not afraid to get help.
Christina is the one who has just constantly showed me the way by leading by example. And, you know, for almost a year now, it was right around, I think, April of last year when I reached out to her. For almost a year now, if I text or call Christina Cook and I need to talk to her about anything from, you know, something about the Modern Meeting or something about, you know, the podcast or something personal in my life, whatever it is, she answers and she takes the time to help me get to the other side of whatever I'm struggling with.
But I was like, dude, I was really certain that I was going to build my empire on compulsive gambling. Like, not on compulsive gambling, on gambling. I was
Right.
like, this is great, and everything's going to be great. I'm just going to be a gambler. And
So did you like continue throughout high school and college? Because I know you were
no,
busy. Yeah, right.
no. So high school, I would only gamble if we were on like a vacation or something, and there was a casino on the premise. I remember one year my family decided to go to Anguilla, and they didn't have casinos there. And I threw a fit. I was like, Anguilla's so boring. We're all going to hate it. The Bahamas is great. There's so many restaurants. Like, I was like trying to scheme and manipulate to like go to the Bahamas because there was a casino there. And at the time, I didn't process that as a problem. It was just kind of like, I love to gamble, and I gamble my Christmas money. If I lose it, who cares? If I win, amazing.
Yeah.
But it was all, dude, it was, that button was fucking fired on.
Right.
My
So-
first ever session. I will say this. I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of what you're doing. And there is so many outlets for people to gamble, and so many outlets for people to see how they can gamble or watch gambling. There's not enough outlets for people to learn how to not gamble, be happy, and live a good, happy, joyous, and free life. You are
End
one
it
of them,
there.
sir. We're ending it there. I
Whoa,
love
it's my
you.
podcast. Let me end it. Hold on.
I love you. Thank you so much for watching Modern Meeting with Adam Lyons and
shit.
Luis Ruggiero. Don't gamble. Don't do drugs. Don't drink. I mean, definitely don't gamble. If you want to drink and you can drink, God bless you.
What he said. You're the best, brother.
I love you, bro.
Love you too. All right, we'll
Later.
be right back. Holy shit.
I mean, there's so many people to thank that, you know, I don't want to run the risk of listing everyone and then forgetting someone. But if you have ever appeared on the Modern Meeting, I thank you. Thank you to everyone at the Tuesday Night GA in Austin, Texas. That's where I first entered recovery. Thank you to everyone in Tiverton and Rhode Island at that meeting, the Rumford meeting in East Providence, any meeting I've ever been to. Shout out to Daniel and the folks in the UK, the Sheffield meeting, Sal and his Thursday night meeting, J.A. Jugadores Anonimoso. I think that's how you say it. And huge shout out to my family in the Modern Meeting, Mondays, 8 p.m., shameless plug on Zoom. That meeting, yeah, kind of brought me back to life a little bit, you know, recovery wise. And I thank everyone who's attended those meetings. You know, I want to thank Alex I want to thank Jen. I want to thank my parents, Pete and Ellie, not only for appearing on the podcast, but for putting up with my gambling for 20 years. I want to thank my brother, who technically appeared in the podcast for about 10 minutes. Definitely going to get him on at some point. Shout out to my nephew, Noah. We'll get him on at some point, maybe. I want to thank Sam DeMello, CEO and founder of Evive. Not only for sponsoring the podcast, I can't thank you enough, Sam, but also just for believing both in the podcast and in me early on. So grateful that I found Evive and you, and, working for you has been best job of my life. And I can't wait to see where Evive goes. Just been, it's been awesome. And obviously, I thank Christina. I feel like I thank her every week, but I'm going to thank you again, Christina. Thank you so much. Every week is not enough. I want to thank my sponsor, Ken. That first year in recovery, couldn't have done it without you. Absolutely not. And obviously still lean on you. Looking forward to coming back to the Tuesday night meeting. Chili's will always be better than Applebee's. Shout out Chili's. Shout out the fajitas. Cannot wait to eat those on Tuesday. And if I forgot you, I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't forget you because I said I thank everyone. So technically I'm good. But I know, if I sat here, there'd be so many people to thank. But it's 10 o'clock on Friday night and I need to fucking release this episode. So if I think of things, maybe I'll thank you. But you know what? I'll just thank you in person, or I'll shoot you a text, right? But yeah, once again, so grateful, so fucking grateful for my recovery and this podcast, and just for, to take a page from Christina's book. I'm so grateful for this life that I don't want to escape from anymore. And I'm going to close with this because this is my higher power at work and you can't make this shit up. So someone who has been, trying to connect with me, like through the podcast, and just, wanted to touch base and like, professional conversation, we kind of run in the same circles. Anyways, he reached out to me yesterday. Finally, we locked it in. We were on a Zoom like 5 hours ago, just talking about recovery, talking about the business. And, we got to talking, and he said something that I said, shit, let me write that down. If that does not sum up everything. And as I was thinking about how to end this, like 2 hours ago, I was like, oh my God, what this guy just said to me tonight is perfect. When I think of how I felt about 2 years into my recovery, I was working in an industry that I wanted so desperately to get out of. And I so desperately wanted to help people with a gambling addiction. I wanted to start this podcast. I wanted to find ways to coach people. I wanted to do everything I could to get into this industry. And it took a little while. And so what this guy said to me tonight, it's I mean, this is next level higher power shit. He said, it's a privilege to be tired from the work you once begged the universe for. I never want to leave. I never want to stop doing what I'm doing. And every time I'm editing something at 5 a.m., or I come up with excuses of why I can't do this right now, or why that needs to wait, or this or that, you guys know I think recovery is a privilege. But to do this podcast, to work in this space, it's a privilege. Thank you again to everybody. We'll see you on the other side.
Well, hi, I'm Dr. Nathan Smith, and I'd like to take a minute to congratulate my good friend Alfred Lemons on his wonderful podcast, The Meeting Modern. Congrats, Al.
Hi, Adam. Congratulations on 100 podcasts. Over this past year, I've watched you take what has been a story of really kind of despair and suffering and transform it into something that is healing, not just for yourself, but for other people. I think most of us can relate to looking back on our life and having made decisions that have caused a lot of grief and pain. And you've really shown a path where you can take those feelings and turn them into something positive for yourself and for other people. So thank you so much for that. And I'm really looking forward to the next 100 podcasts.
Hey everyone, Charles King, episode 11 of The Modern Meeting. Just want to congratulate Adam on his 100th episode. Woo!
Congratulations, Adam, and The Modern Meeting for 100 episodes. It's 100 conversations, 100 opportunities, and countless moments of hope for those who are experiencing gambling-related harm. Your dedication, vulnerability, honesty, and everything you put into this truly makes an impact on everyone who chooses to listen. So here's to 100 more. I can't wait to listen.
Adam, congrats on 100 episodes, man. Keep doing the right thing one day at a time, and hopefully you can help a lot of people by sharing your story and the story of others.
On behalf of Talking Addiction and Recovery Podcast, on a personal level, I want to congratulate Adam Lyons on 100 episodes of the Modern Meeting Podcast. Over the last 100 episodes, you've invited us into your meetings, sharing your own personal story, welcoming guests from various backgrounds to talk about the impact of gambling, and creating a recovery space that is compassionate, kind, and inviting. I've been fortunate enough to be a guest on the podcast, and you've been a guest on mine. And I can say that when that record button hits, it is like we're already in the middle of a conversation together. Thank you for all that you do and what 100 episodes has brought to this space and community. Congratulations, my friend, and looking forward to tuning in to the next 100.
Hey, Cousin Matt and Jackson and Aubrey here from beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. Just wanted to say congratulations on episode 100. We're super proud of all the hard work you put in and all the awesome stories that have been told. Here's to another 100 more. Guys?
Welcome to the Modern Meeting.
Adam, congratulations on 100 episodes. The work that you're doing is not only important for your recovery and other people's recovery, but for the sense of community. You are amplifying voices every time you release an episode, and I hope that you're really proud of the work that you're doing.
Congratulations, Adam, on 100 episodes of The Modern Meeting. What, 100? And I've only been on one? What the fuck, Adam? I need a new recovery buddy.
Hey, Adam, it's Kim and Kurt from episode 53 and 54. Congratulations on 100 episodes. You're doing great work, and we really are very grateful to know you.
Yeah, you're really spreading the message of gambling addiction and gambling recovery. I really appreciate that, and I'm sure a lot of other people who watch your podcast appreciate that as well. So congratulations on your 100th episode.
Let's go Modern Meeting.
Hey, Adam, congratulations on the 100th episode. You're doing an awesome job. There's not a lot of places where you can find strong opinions, but open-mindedness, genuineness, and an unfiltered dialogue. God bless. Keep it going.
What's up, Adam? It's Josh Hampton from North Carolina. Congratulations on your 100th episode of the Modern Meeting Podcast.
Hey, Adam. Congratulations on the amazing milestone of 100 episodes of the Modern Meeting Podcast. Seems like only yesterday we were recording episode 62. Thank you for all the work you do in recovery spaces advocating for everyone suffering from gambling harm. Thanks for inspiring so many people to reach inside and find their best selves. Most of all, thank you for your friendship and always being there when I flounder and need some hard truths. Congrats on 100 episodes, and here's to hundreds more.
Hey Adam, congrats on 100 episodes of The Modern Meeting.
Man, it's so impactful, the work that you're doing, and we see people in Evive all the time who found us through listening to your big goofy ass on the podcast. You're making a difference, man, and I can't wait to be celebrating episode number 500 with you. Keep it up.
Hey Adam, congratulations on your 100th episode of the Modern Meeting podcast. Super proud of you. Keep up the good work.
Hey Ad, Mom and Dad here.
We just want to congratulate you on 100 episodes of the Modern Meeting and tell you how extremely proud we are of all your hard work.
Not only your hard work, but all the help you're giving to others as well. We love you, Ad. Keep up the great work.
Oh, hello. I'm Dr. Nathan Smith, PhD, ALM. Congratulations to my friend Albert Lemmings on his wonderful podcast, The Modern Meeting, 100 episodes. Great job, Al.